Hello student, welcome to the lecture on leadership issues in IT management, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand the concept of leadership, define the changing meaning of leadership, describe conventional leadership versus new meaning of leadership, understand leader versus manager, explain leader in IT organization. Let us first see what a leadership actually means. Some view leadership as a series of specific traits or characteristics, others see it as comprised of certain skill or knowledge, while some think it as a process, though it has many definitions as discussed one by one. A process of giving purpose to collective effort and causing willing effort to be expanded to achieve purpose. The process of influencing the activities of an individual or a group in efforts towards goal achievement in a given situation. An attempt at influencing the activities of followers through the communication process and toward the attainment of some goal or goals. A process of influencing the activities of an organized group toward goal achievement. Interpersonal influence exercised in a situation and directed through the communication process toward the attainment of a specified goal or goals. Factors of leadership. The four factors of leadership are: leader. We must have an honest understanding of who we are, what we do, and what we can do. It is the followers, not the leader or someone else, who determines if the leader is successful. Followers. Different people require different styles of leadership. We must come to know our employees' be, know, and do attributes. Communication. What and how we communicate either builds or harms the relationship between us and our employees. Situation. We must use our judgment to decide the best course of action and the leadership style needed for each situation. And situation have a greater effect on a leader's action than his or her traits. Principle of leadership. Let us discuss some of the main principles of leadership. Know ourselves and seek self-improvement. In order to know ourselves, we have to understand our be, know, and do attributes. Seeking self-improvement means continually strengthening our attributes can be accomplished through self-study, formal classes, and interacting with others. Be technically proficient. As the leader, we must know our job and have a solid familiarity with our employees' tasks. Seek responsibility and take responsibility for our actions. Search for ways to guide our organization to new heights. Make sound and timely decisions. Use good problem-solving, decision-making, and planning tools. Set the example. Be a good role model for employees. Know people and look out for their well-being. Know human nature and the importance of sincerely caring for workers. Keep workers informed. Know how to communicate with not only them but also seniors and other key people. Develop a sense of responsibility in workers. Help to develop good character traits that will help them carry out their professional responsibilities. Ensure that tasks are understood, supervised, and accomplished. Communication is the key to this responsibility. Train as a team. Although many so-called leaders call the organization, department, section, etc. a team, they are not really teams. They are just a group of people doing their jobs. Use the full capabilities of organization. By developing a team spirit, we will be able to employ organization, department, section, etc. to its fullest capabilities. Environment. Every organization has a particular work environment which dictates to a considerable degree how its leaders respond to problems and opportunities, goals, values, and concepts. Leaders exert influence on the environment via three types of action: the goals and performance standards they establish, the values they establish for the organization, and the business and people concepts they establish. Leadership issues in management. Some of the common leadership issues in management are me versus we. Leadership direction in companies needs to focus less on a singular leader who rallies the troops to win the battle and more on a coach or mentor that directs and encourages a team and helps advance the company. Faulty assumption. The lone boss can operate under flawed notions that can hinder a team or company if left unchecked, especially if executives promote someone based primarily on skill, experience, or expertise. Confronting challenges. Executives must start with the corporate strategy, ensures it answers the primary challenges facing the company, and then look for managers who can take charge of groups to confront those challenges. Attitude issues. Beyond skill sets, the attitude a manager brings to the workflow influences team productivity. Communication concerns. Personality issues spill over into communication, and if people do not convey information, work stalls. Changing meaning of leadership. The fundamental meaning of leadership has not changed in all of recorded history. It has always been about the person in charge of the group. Different about 21st century. Ours is a knowledge-driven age. Change is much more rapid today. In modern organization, knowledge workers are not complaint drones. The key point about intergroup leadership is that it is not a role, let alone a dominant one. Meaning of leadership needs to change. Leadership in the 21st century is no longer a fixed role. In a fluid, dynamic environments where innovation rules, leadership is only an occasional act that can come from and directional, including outside the group. Showing leadership means convincing others to change direction. It is time to separate leadership and management. Conventional leadership versus new meaning of leadership. What is leadership today? There is a lot of leadership that cannot be accounted for in terms of being in charge of people. Green leadership, promoting green practices to the world at large. Bottom-up leadership, convincing management to adopt a new product or change a process. Thought leadership, showing the way for colleagues across an industry sector with innovative thinking, leading by example, working smarter than our colleagues and influencing them to follow our lead. Market leadership, leadership of one group like Apple over its competitors. Leadership reinvented. Leadership does not manage people, that's management. Leaders do not make decisions. The act of leadership is pure influence. Leaders like green leaders sell the tickets for the journey. Managers drive the bus to the destination. Leadership should not be seen as a role either. People in position of authority occasionally show leadership, but then so does everyone else. Manager. A manager is a person whose job it is to oversee one or more employees, division or volunteers to ensure that they carry out certain duties or meet specific group goals. Managers can be formal or informal. Duties and roles. Every manager is at his or her core a leader, though which is where most responsibilities originate. Planning and group-based organization are key parts of the job. Supervising, mentoring and motivating lower-level workers is important too. A manager is often called upon to act as the outward face of the people he or she supervises. Tiers of responsibility. Management is divided into three tiers. Upper or senior level leaderships are usually the overarching bosses. They are more prestigious, are often a lot smaller and tend to involve less hands-on work. Middle management includes those in more junior position and also usually generates reports for senior leaders. This can include supervisors that field large territories and solve problems within the lower management tier. Lower level supervision includes managers who operate at basic levels of commerce or function. What do managers do? They aim to achieve certain goals in a way that adds most value and gets the most out of all available resources. They must monitor their goals and investment regularly to make sure that they are getting the best return. Highly skilled managers know how to get the balance right between measuring what people do and empowering them. Critical management skills. Skilled managers have a good balance of task competencies and people skills. Managers need to be sound decision makers, customer focused, able to cope with complexity, resilient in the face of setbacks and have sufficient energy to tackle a huge workload. Effective manager asks employees what they think to draw a solution to problems out of them. This is a great way to engage employees. Leader versus manager. These two terms may seem identical, but they are different. Leadership does not require any managerial position to act as a leader. A manager can be a true manager only if he has got the traits of leader in him. Leadership is a part of one of the functions of manager. A person can be a leader by virtue of qualities in him. All managers are leaders, but all leaders are not managers. So in brief, a leader is one who influences the behavior and work of others in group efforts towards achievement of specified goals in a given situation. A manager can be a true manager only if he has got traits of leader in him. Leadership versus management. A manager is the battlefield general while the leader is the commander-in-chief. Qualities of a manager. A manager is considered a copy of the leader, responsible for communicating the rules and philosophies of the company to individual employees, ensuring that they abide by them. They're responsible for maintaining the day-to-day operations of the company so the cogs of the operation stay well oiled. Qualities of a leader. A leader bases his or her decision on reports from department heads to assess the entire company situation and future strategies. A true leader will also be willing to ignore the company's quarterly bottom line for several quarters, much to charge in of shareholders, and make investment for a long-range growth perspective. Comparison between managers and leader. A manager asks how and when, whereas a leader asks what and why. If a leader of a business simply manages a company rather than challenge its true potential, then it will likely fall behind its industry peers. If managers overstep their bounds and attempt to revolt against a company, then they may soon find themselves out of the job. Why separate leadership and management? Because all organizations have two fundamentally different tasks: to execute today's business as efficiently as possible, to devise new direction for future success, innovation. Leaders in IT organization. Organizational leadership does not mean having a boss think of a command and then watch as it is filtered throughout the ranks. Organizational leadership is the ability of management to understand its employees and company goals enough to bring everyone together. Corporate environment is the most common place to see organizational leadership practice. Organizational leadership provides guidance and personal management for a company to reach its goal. Organizational leadership can provide the functions of leadership to an organizationally beneficial degree that cannot be matched by individual charismatic leaders alone. It is also far more reliably focused on the organization's ability to accomplish its own purposes and ensure its own sustainability, rather than resulting in the perversion of those to the interests of senior executive leaders. Developing effective IT leaders. IT leadership has become much more important over time as IT has taken on expanded responsibilities for effective change within the organization. For effective leadership, we can infuse our organization with vigor, optimism, enthusiasm, and creative energy, resulting in much more productive organization than otherwise possible. For this, we actually need to identify the techniques of effective leaders and how they decide which technique is most applicable in a given situation. Understand what motivates an effective leader. Examine our personal experiences. Need of leadership within IT. Leadership used to be the exclusive purview of senior management. It was their duty to create the vision for the organization, to motivate employees to achieve objectives, to organize work activities, to maintain cooperative relationship, to ensure development of the skills and confidence of employees, and to marshal support and coordination from people outside the immediate group or organization. The benefits of an individual leadership model over a hierarchical leadership model are significant. In the individual model, it is expected that everyone will practice leadership. Summary. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Knowledge and skills contribute directly to the process of leadership, while the other attributes give the leader certain characteristics that make him or her unique. Every organization has a particular work environment which dictates to a considerable degree how its leaders respond to problems and opportunities. 4 factors of leadership: leaders, followers, communication, and situation. A manager occupies a position of authority over people and other resources in all sizes of organization. Organizational leadership provides guidance and personal management for a company to reach its goals.